My name is Ryul Song.
And my name is Schweitzer, and we are architects practicing in Seoul, and we are involved in the Future School and the Future School Summer Studio.
And when we came to Korea 15 years ago for teaching, and we quickly grew frustrated about architectural education system is very rigid, very limited. But in parallel, the critique on Western architectural education grew more and more. It's not only Korean problem, it's general global problem. Architecture education fundamentally is still holding on to a system which foundation was framed in modernism 100 years ago. Our societies are in radical shift, which demands architecture to react with a new way of thinking. So architects had to let go of the modernist paradigm, and this has to start in education as the foundation of the architectural thinking.
Yeah, the Future School at the Venice Biennale is an attempt to establish such a new way of thinking and thereby a new way of doing. At the same time, the Future School is also a critique on the system of biennales and on architecture exhibitions. An exhibition always establishes a status quo. It's in the now and can only talk about what is now. And when it's over, it's over. The Future School tries to take the vehicle of an exhibition to launch a discussion, to look not at what is now, but at the things needed in the future. So it's to carry the discussion on and turning it into an ongoing process of a school that hopefully will run for many years and can actually create a future in contrast to an exhibition that can only talk about the future. The Future School Summer Studio is a first step where we will try in upcoming years to expand it into a full year program, like first a summer workshop, then maybe a master class, and if we are lucky to really establish a full-grown architectural school. Architecture education is not a question of methodology, but a question of thinking. It's not what to do, but how to look at it. Architecture education should not teach you how to do architecture, but question what is architecture, what constitutes architecture, and a new architecture education has to first fundamentally rethink the definition of architecture. And thereby of society, politics, and economics, and there lies the problem with the current architecture education. It is a methodology that accepts the current definition of architecture, that are still stuck in a modernist understanding of architecture. And there come some terms into mind, like result versus process, or appearance versus content, or economics versus humanism, object versus relationship, function versus possibility, organization versus opportunity. And once you just exchange these words that used in modernism with new words, you automatically start to look at architecture differently and start to understand space differently. And the Future School will be fundamentally different from the current education in the sense that we will not give answers, but we will raise questions. Answers are always stuck in the now. questions establish an open system that can change and adapt to the problems we have. And the future school, in that sense, is not focused on building design, but on social design. It's more related to sociological and philosophical thinking as the foundation of any architectural doing, so to say. So design actually stands very far behind in this process to rethink how we react to our environment.
Yeah, next year's theme will be gender and space. So we are still working on a more precise outline, but in many ways it will be a continuation of this theme's borderlines theme. In our rapidly changing times of pressing social, ecological, political, and environmental problems, the issue of borders will focus in a way on social borders. So let me read you a quote by a Belgian psychologist and philosopher Luis Irigaray. Everywhere you shut me in, always you assign a place to me. You mark boundaries, draw lines, surround, enclose, excising, cutting out. What is your fear? That you might lose your property. What remains is an empty frame. You clinging to it, death. Bringing this quote into architecture, basically we are currently building tombstones rather than free and open, accessible social system.
Like we are moving away rapidly from the modernist spatial understanding. Their social space was an absolute space. The organization of society within a clear, defined, functional frame, a one solution fits everyone. And the postmodernist relational space brought the focus onto the individual, like a fragmentation of the social space, and all is possible. And both spatial paradigms have proven themselves to not be able to tackle the problems that we are now facing in the 21st century. So we will try to negotiate a new spatial contract, so to say, that is needed today. It will be an investigation into a new social understanding and social definition of space, a new spatial paradigm. We will rethink our relationship towards each other in society, and thereby our relationship towards the environment that surrounds us. It's basically on social relations within the frame of gender and space, rethinking space as a new spatial contract.